Fanfiction has become a lot more of a common topic for my channel than I would have thought, but to be fair, I never expected to talk about it at all. But this is a weird one to say the least, because a 26-year-old adult has not only taken it upon themselves to harass and villainize a 13-year-old over fanfiction, they have doxed them and leaked voice recordings of them too without permission. I am not joking. Now before I get into it, I want to say that I don't really mind fanfictions or shipping. I think they have a place in any community, whether wanted or not, and plenty of writers, especially nowadays, started off by writing fanfiction for their favorite shows or characters. And as long as characters are legal and things don't devolve into illegal degeneracy, I'm fine with it. And obviously if you're younger, you probably view shipping differently, and you aren't held to the same level. But I have a problem when you are so obsessed with a show that you turn to harassing and gaslighting a child for saying mean stuff about your underage fan couple. Again, I am not making this up. This sounds like something I'm exaggerating. Well, you might be like, this must be from a particularly bad fandom, one that has actual shipping wars going on right now as I speak. This must be from the My Hero Academia fandom, or the Danganronpa fandom, fandoms that are known for their rampant toxicity and shipping obsession. Nope, not that it would have been justifiable had this happened within those fandoms, but this all started because of a relatively new children's show called Glitch Techs. I've never watched it, but I have a general idea of what it's like. But despite only coming out recently, it's become a lot of people's personal favorites. And as such, when you have a show that gets really popular really fast, you're going to get shipping wars and fan fictions and all of that. And as I said before, as long as it's reasonable and not excessive, I don't really care. But today's case is something unique to say the least. What happened? Well, I got a Twitter thread that blew up recently, and it was about a person who, just a reminder, is in their mid-20s, who made an over 500-page, 22,000 word document about a 13-year-old. Now that in of itself is already really suspicious. Like, I don't know how you would make a doc that long for anyone, let alone someone that probably isn't even in high school yet. So this 13-year-old must be the worst. They must be the devil, and they've done nothing else but cause misery and pain for those around them. Do you want to know what got this 13-year-old kid a document that's more than 5 times as long as the US fucking Constitution? It was because the kid found their fanfiction weird because they shipped a minor with an adult, aging up the characters without ever stating it in the story, and made one of the characters trans for no other reason than for a fetish, along with them not giving a proper warning to say that the fanfiction is 18+. Such highlights of the document include Mari's friend, who Mari is the doc maker, judging the kid for not knowing what lemon is, which in case you don't know, it means NSFW fanfiction, which personally, I'm glad that a child doesn't know that. Mari would then go on to get into an argument with the kid, who I will call Cal, and she called Cal out for shipping themselves with a fictional character, while at the same time justifying their illegal age difference ship, which, focusing on Cal for a minute, most children do this at some point in their lives. Almost every kid gets a crush on a TV show character. Judging them for it, or even worse, calling them a pedophile for it, is so disgusting and jarring. Mari's friend also acts like the show is real, like at some point the characters will be of age, and then they have to worry about one of them being a pedo, which if you're spending your time telling children they're pedos because they have a crush on a fictional character who's older than them, maybe you should reconsider your life choices. Mari also used a screenshot of Cal saying that kids are bad as proof of her being a bully when Cal is a kid and the tweet was clearly ironic. She also said that Cal has radical opinions about art because they said a piece of art sucked once. Also, Mari got mad at Cal because she feels like you should only use consent as a word when it relates to sexual things, when consent is a part of everyday life and discussion. I consent to you using my work. I consent to you talking for me. Consent is used in any context. Also, when I say that Mari doxed her, I mean it. Not only did she leak private voice recorded discussions without permission, she straight up said at one point that Cal lived in a certain state, which, had that been true, would have just been a straight up dox. It was wrong, but she put that in there thinking that is where she lives. Mari also stopped stalked this 13-year-old's Twitter to try and find any instance of them saying anything slightly bad to use against them and call them hypocrites, when the kid's major crime was just, hey, maybe don't ship an underage character with one that is of age, especially when you don't properly say that they are legal now anywhere in the story. Or maybe better yet, you just ship characters who are legal. I don't know, that sounds pretty easy to me. She also calls Cal a danger because of a disagreement over fanfiction. Fanfiction! This is all over fanfiction. Mari's another person who justifies sexualizing children who are fictional by saying that since they're not real, you shouldn't really care. And if you're also one of those people who think sexualizing fictional children is fine just because they're not real, get help. And there is so much more. God bless the person that read through it just to summarize it for Twitter. It's especially terrible since they blame Cal for their hallucinations and their health acting up, while stating that they were off their medication for it. And these aren't the only cases of gaslighting. You can read multiple messages throughout the doc that are clear attempts at gaslighting, and even afterward with Mari's apologies, which I'll get to, you see a clear pattern of gaslighting a reminder 13-year-old, seeing how far this doc goes to portray a 13-year-old as this unforgivable monster who is ruining lives, while at the same time look like a victim of a fictional harassment campaign who only made the doc to spare others pain, is insane. This doc was solely, and I mean solely, made to get back at Cal because Mari is a petty degenerate. And this is a summarized version of the doc. She tries to paint Cal as this homophobe, racist, serial harasser, and all sorts of other things. Her only proofs being a delusional rant that goes alongside with it and a screenshot that doesn't prove anything. I can make 5 videos if I wanted to, going over all of the doc, because this thing is half as long as the Bible. The Bible! But thankfully, a lot of the doxing and personal information is gone now from the doc. It's not because of Mari, it's because someone re-uploaded the doc and took that stuff out. Mari deleted her original post, but even now still refuses to drop it. And that's the scary part. This adult made one of, if not the longest exposés in history, and all because of a kid who didn't like their ship and how gross and exploitative it was. While writing my original script, I decided to reach out to Cal and see if they were doing alright and if they wanted to add more. And when they answered, they were really nice and open about it. And it's really brave of them to be open about it given how shaken up they were. The way the doc portrayed Cal, it made it sound like as soon as I talked to them, they would try to extort me out of money. But they're just some kid who liked fanfiction who's going through a lot because of some crazy person. Cal also made a counter doc that showed how the 500-page doc wasn't the end of it. Mari has been actively trying to ruin this kid since before the doc was even made, and the doc was released on Christmas Day just to ruin it for Cal. How awful of a human being do you have to be? Mari also tried and failed to turn people against Cal. And when that didn't work, she made vague posts about her, even calling out her age and calling her a harasser and stalker just because Cal wanted to vent about this grown adult who was legitimately harassing her. Along with this, not only does she just flat out admit to shipping illegal relationships, she even called the people defending Cal simps. Which, if that doesn't tell you how delusional and just repulsive Mari is, I don't know what will. Along with this, they use them being demisexual as an excuse for sexualizing minors, even though she's the one judging a 13-year-old for having a crush on someone older than them. Best part is that Mari acts like Cal is some super sexual kid, which I feel really gross for saying. Despite them never talking about sexual interest in their crush, it's just a childhood crush. A crush Mari tried to morph into something disgusting to try and justify her own degeneracy. And the messages of her demonizing this child go on, and it's sad how much there is. She even tried to manipulate Cal into giving an apology for the doc she wrote. A doc in which she tried to make Cal look homophobic just because she didn't like how a child was being shipped with an adult. And there's more to it. But if you want to look at Cal's responses, I'll leave a link to it. The weirdest part to me about this situation, besides, fanfiction being the cause of it, is that Mari wasn't just some random loser online. with no following. They had a decent following on YouTube with videos that usually do well, but they ruined it for themselves. Along with that, they brought it to their channel by making multiple community posts about this situation and just won't leave Cal alone. They say they're sorry for what they did, but they bring in other shippers to try and make it sound like they took a bullet for something, when they only made the doc because, again, this all started because she got mad at a kid who called her fanfiction gross. And for that kid deserves gaslighting and half a Bible written about them. And despite all of the backlash, and the only thing she needed to do being to label her work 18+, she refuses to do that even now. The actual doc has plenty of 18+ sections to it, but no warning at the beginning of it. So if a kid stumbles across it, just like with the fanfictions, they will see a lot of NSFW that they could have avoided, and they put just 2 numbers and a plus in there. Maybe don't call a child a pedophile for having a crush on a character who is canonically older than them and their OC. A character they would have eventually grown out of because they're a young kid who will move on to another show. But instead of being able to enjoy a show they really like, they have to have a constant reminder of this vile woman who wanted to ruin Christmas for them just because of a disagreement over fanfiction. Jesus Christ. That said, thanks for watching. I'm going to leave a link to Cal's Twitter. They deserve the support, so if you can, please go give it to them. As always, I want to thank my members too. Their names will be in the description as well. With a special thank you to First Spectre, Dom Gaming 2001, Don from Kanto, Fever D, Steely, Bondad, Semper Fidelis, XXXally, XX The Guy, Jennifer Green, Denif Productions, Wolfie Waffles, and Ura Marine Corps. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.